Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Cooking with Grandma. And before I start today, I need to apologize to all my viewers that I did repeat some of my recipes, and I apologize for that. I went through them when I was deciding what to bake last time, and I didn't realize that I'd already copied it. So now I've made a list and I keep it in my recipe book, that if I go, oh, let's make a video about this, nope, I've already done it. So today I promise you there are two new recipes. Today we're going to make pinwheel cookies and lemon sponge pie. So let's start with the cookies. While these are baking, we can make up the pie crust. So this recipe is from an old book, Five Roses Flour book. I picked this up at a garage sale, and this book was printed in 1938. So you know all the ingredients are going to be easy, like nothing that you have to go and spend half your paycheck to buy. They're just simple basic ingredients. So with the pinwheel cookies, you make a standard 1-egg cookie mixture. They give you the recipe, and then you can switch it up. You can make chocolate cookies, milk cookies, perfection cookies, shortbread, all different kinds by just using one dough. Today we're going to make the pinwheel cookies. So what we need to do is start with we're going to put 1/2 cup of butter in my pan, my bowl. These are pretty easy. It's just like your basic cookies. You just put things in the bowl, mix it up, and the only difference here is that once you mixed it up, your dough, you have to split it up and make half of it chocolate and half of it vanilla dough. So there's our 1/2 cup of butter. So then we need 1/2 cup of sugar. I was looking through my recipe books today to decide what to make, and I did not realize how many dessert recipes call for brown sugar, and I am out of brown sugar at the moment, so there was a lot of recipes that I couldn't do today because, you can substitute plain sugar for brown sugar sometimes, but depending what the recipe is. Okay, so now 1 beaten egg yolk. Whenever it calls for just the egg yolk or the egg white, I don't bother unless it's specific. It doesn't matter. I'm going to put the whole egg in. It's just because then when you separate it, you keep the egg whites for the meringue. Well, we're not making meringue. I don't have any recipes. I will be using it for my lemon thing, but that comes with its own cake, its own eggs. You don't need to separate the eggs. You can just add the whole egg in. And we're going to do 3 tablespoons of milk. This, like I said, it's pretty straightforward. It's pretty easy going. Just basic, plain, like a sugar cookie dough almost. So 1 1/2 cups of flour. Half. And for all you mothers out there, I hope you had a really good day yesterday. I had a lovely day. I got lots of good gifts. I got a bunch of craft products. I make different crafts. I make cat tents and I make different things, and I got the supplies I needed for that. I got some paints. I got a new glue gun. And I got a gift certificate to get my seeds or my flowers for the summer. It was lovely. We had a very nice day. My kids brought in the food and made everything, and I didn't have to lift a finger. It was wonderful. Okay, so to the flour, we're going to add 1 1/2 teaspoons of baking powder. And again, make sure you scrape the spoon so you don't get more than what you need. And 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt, which means basically it's like 3 shakes. Throw it in. And 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla. That's all there is to it for this half. We're gonna mix this up, and then we'll separate it and add our chocolate to it. We'll divide it in half. I have had this recipe before, and I've never tried it. I've thought about trying it, and I thought, oh, no, not today. The one thing I do notice in this cookbook, though, is that whatever recipes that they list, they always say, refrigerate the dough for an hour or overnight. Refrigerate the dough. You don't have to do that. I mean, if it's real sticky, and it's the kind of dough that you can't work with it, okay, but for the most part, no, just use it. When it's chilled, like these have to be sliced, so when it's chilled it is a little bit easier to work with. Okay, so there it is. That's how quick and easy that was to mix it up, and it is a very soft cookie dough. Very, very soft. So, okay, so I made the one egg cookie mixture. Now that we divide the dough in half, and then to one half, you can add either a square of melted chocolate or just a fourth of a cup of cocoa. So that's what we're doing today. So I'm going to take one half of the dough out. Just kind of slice it with your spoon or knife in half. You know, kind of eyeball it. I mean, if you want to measure and weigh the dough and then take out exactly half, as long as when you roll it up, it's even the sizes. The pieces are the same size, you're good. So we're going to take that and we're going to, I put my cocoa away thinking I wasn't going to use cocoa today, and I realized it was. So we're going to do a fourth of a cup of baker's cocoa, and we're going to put that in to the other half of the dough. Mix that in. Now this is going to dry up this half. It's not going to be quite as moist as the vanilla dough because you're adding another powder to it. So it's going to really make a difference here. And it's very, very dry. I'm not sure about this. I might have to add a titch of milk because I'll try to bring it together with a fork or something, because with another spoon. I'm using the back of the tablespoon. You push down, flip it over, push down, and it helps it work together. I thought it was going to be too dry and I was going to add some milk. It's a good thing I just decided to kind of persevere a little bit, because no, you don't need that extra milk. It's actually coming together really nicely. It is a little bit drier than the white batch, but because you added the extra. There it is, done. So then what you do, chill your dough. Okay, we chilled the dough. Right, I'm not chilling the dough. You chill your dough. And then you roll out the vanilla half. Let me just grab my rolling pin. Okay. So you have to, let me see, roll the white dough into a thin rectangular sheet. It doesn't say how big, so I guess just however big you can get it, or whatever. It doesn't say, and you want a rectangle. Everybody who went to school knows what a rectangle is. Just flour it a little bit. This is a very, very soft dough. It's really nice. And I guess that's why they say to chill it, because it'd be easier to roll. But that's okay, you know, you're gonna, sometimes, like with baking, you have to be really precise to a point, like for ingredient-wise, but for steps like this, you don't necessarily have to. Okay, so there's our white dough. So I'm going to kind of, I'm going to just leave that there, and I'm going to roll the chocolate dough out. Let's see, place the chocolate dough over the white dough and press together. Well, we have to roll it first. So I'm going to just put my chocolate dough over here and roll it out over on next to it, and then lift it, because the white, it's already down and I don't want to break it because it's so soft. So we're going to just go ahead and roll this dough over here next to it, which I don't think is going to work, so I'm going to have to, I don't have enough room. I'm going to have to, and that was too wet. The vanilla dough is too wet. It's not rolling. I'm going to add just a little bit of flour and tighten it up a little bit, because it's too sticky. It wouldn't roll, it wouldn't stay properly. So I can see the difference in the chocolate dough versus the white dough. So the chocolate dough is rolling much nicer. There we go. Nice, easy. This is a very simple recipe, just that, you know, sometimes amounts differ. And like if you don't divide it exactly, there we go, there's the chocolate dough. Now let's try rolling this vanilla dough again, right next to it. And then we have to place one on top of the other. It says to place the chocolate dough on top of the vanilla dough. Does it really matter? I don't know. I guess it depends on when you cut into it, the way it looks. I suppose it'll look the opposite way if you put the white on top of the chocolate. You never really gave it a thought. There we go. So there is our white dough. I'm going to take the chocolate dough, place it on top of the white dough, and you just give it a push. Just give it a little. I'm going to just roll it a little bit, just so it's nice and set right into that white dough. And my chocolate dough is a little bigger, so obviously I didn't divide it quite well enough. So then what you do is you roll, you place this chocolate dough, and then you roll up into a tight roll like you would be a jelly roll. And you're going to roll it. Now this is the part too where it says to chill it, because it makes it easy for slicing. Again, no, I'm not going to do it. So there, you just roll it up into a nice rectangle, or into a nice roll. Even it out, and we're going to just squeeze it on the top just to make the ends together. So when you're cutting, it doesn't fall apart. So you've got this rolled up, and then you take a nice sharp knife and you cut it. Now let's see, it doesn't say how many it makes. Okay, roll up as a tight jelly roll about 2 inches in diameter. Let it firm, and then cut into thin slices. It just says thin slices. So I guess the thicker you slice them, the less cookies you get. And don't forget too, when you're baking something like this, make them all the same size if you can, or as close to it, because the baking times will differ. If one piece is thicker than the other, just like when you make a drop cookie. If one piece is thicker, like more on the spoon than the other, then it's going to cook at different times. So here we go. We're just going to slice these guys. And just as easy as this. Now, let's see what it looks like in the inside. And how many of this gives me. I'm not making these too thin, but I'm not making them real thick either. You're not going to get a lot. This isn't a big recipe. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So I got 18 cookies. So, and then this is what they look like inside. You'll see that? There we go. Now you put these on the baking sheet. It says cut side down, which I always laugh about, because once you cut the first piece, both sides are the cut side. So you got both sides that you cut again. So yeah, you know. And then you just flatten them just a little. It doesn't say to, but usually you do. So actually I'm not, it doesn't call for it this time. I'm just going to leave them up there and see if they, how they manage to, how they do on their own. If they rise. Because I've never made these before, so I'm going to follow the recipe. It doesn't say to flatten them down, it just says to put them down on the cookie sheet. So there we go. 1.5, not bad. I usually make bigger batches, but because it's the first time making them, I wasn't sure how many I would get. So we're going to, again, and then I also don't know how these are going to spread, so we're going to spread them out quite a bit on my cookie sheet because they might spread in the oven. So my oven is preheated to 350. In they go. And let's see, it says for 10 minutes. So I'm going to set my timer for 8 minutes. I always do it a little bit less time than what it originally calls for, because you can always add a minute, you can never take a minute away. Once you've taken a minute away, or if you add another extra minute, you do the whole 10, and they start to burn, you're out of luck. You can't do anything about it. Okay, so while they're baking, we're going to make a lemon sponge pie. Now for this, you start out with a crust for 9-inch pie. So basically your crust is flour, butter, cold water, and salt. That's it. So I'm going to put 1.5 cups of flour. I don't even need to get my recipe out anymore. I've made pie crust so often. I used to buy it all the time because I thought, oh, it's so hard. I never can get it flaky. I never can get it just right. It's, you know, just keep working at it. Just keep trying. It's pretty easy. So we need 1.5 cups of flour, a teaspoon of salt. Mix that in. Your fingers are your best tools. Just stir it in. And now to that we're going to add 1/2 cup of butter and some cold water, which I'm going to turn my tap on and get it nice and cold. And while that's getting cold, what you do is you take your pastry blender if you have one, or just 2 knives and crisscross. This is your pastry blender. For those new to my channel, there you go. You can buy these anywhere, dollar stores, anywhere. You don't have to use those. You can take 2 knives and crisscross. I've done that in one of my other videos. I showed when I made pie crust. In one of the videos, I showed how to do it with the 2 knives. So there we go. And the pastry blender does work a lot quicker. You just go turn the bowl. You can see I'm spinning the bowl as I'm cutting into it. And you just chop, chop, chop. And it really does. I mean, the 2 knives work, but this works a lot quicker. So, there you go. Quick and easy. Make sure you get all the extra butter off your pastry blender. Now you just want to start off with a few, like a tablespoon or so of water at a time, because if you add too much water and then you have to turn around and add more flour because you got it too thin, or too dry, or too wet rather, sorry, it's going to make you a real tough pie crust. It won't be nice and flaky. So you put a tablespoon in, give it a good stir, and then keep adding a little at a time. So I'm going to add another tablespoon. I'm using, in case you think, oh my god, she said a tablespoon and I put 3. It's a teaspoon. 3 teaspoons equals 1 tablespoon. I'd already used that to measure out something and I didn't want to dirty another spoon. So, now see, now it's starting to come together real nice. You take it in your hands and you squeeze it, and if it flakes like that, you know you need more water. So, another tablespoon. Pie dough, you have to kind of get the feel of it. You have to know when it's done, when it holds together. You see, I hope you can see that. Let's see. There, and you can see how it's coming together. When you turn it and it leaves this edge of the bowl and it starts to clump into a big ball. Now, I'm going to do my hand trick again. Now there, see how the nice ball of dough is? And it's not crumbly. When I squeeze it, it doesn't fall apart. So that's kind of what you want. There is still a little bit of flour left in the bottom. I'm going to work that in. Just going to put just a titch more water. Just a titch. There. Now I'm going to pour it out onto my board and just give it a little knead, little mix. Alrighty, there. That is so easy. I mean, people think that baking homemade is hard and expensive and time consuming. Time consuming, yes, because it's not like you can just open a box of cookies and throw them in your cookie jar. Hey, call it a day. But it's so rewarding to make homemade. You know exactly what's in it. You're not getting a bunch of additives and preservatives, things that, you ever see the expiration date on a box of cookies at the grocery store? They last for like 3-4 years. Now, come on now. They don't last in this house for that long. They're not good. They shouldn't last. I don't know. But they have to put these added into it to keep the grocery shelf life going. It's that. But anyway, and it's cheaper to bake at home. You buy your basic ingredients, your flour, your sugar, baking powder, baking soda, salt, butter, brown sugar, cinnamon, vanilla. You fill up your pantry, and then you've always got it. And you can make everything. Recipes, if you don't want to go out and buy a recipe book, everybody's got a computer. Look online. My favorite spot to go is allrecipes.com. You can find pretty much everything on that site. from sweet to savory to desserts, meat dishes, vegetable dishes. If it's not there, they probably don't have it. So there, I'm just going to roll out my dough, my pie dough. Now it doesn't say, let me see my recipe here. Okay, cream the butter, add the sugar, add 60, pour, okay, unbaked, doesn't say. It doesn't say to bake off the pie crust first. Sometimes, some recipes you have to bake the pie crust first, but no. This is unbaked pie crust. And it's not rolling as nicely as I would like it to. It's a little stiff here, but it's going. Maybe it's just me this morning, I don't know, I'm not. It's early, it's very early in the morning. I get my pie plate out. See how much more I got to go. Measure it that way, a little bit. Because with a single pie crust, you're not going to put a topper on this. You just put, this is just the bottom. It's almost like going to be kind of like a sort of a combination of a lemon meringue pie and a cake, lemon cake, but with the pie crust. So you don't want it real big. You just want it just to cover the bottom and the sides of your pie dish. And our cookies are counting down already. It's a quick 8 minutes, but that just shows you that 8 minutes I set the timer for, and that's how long it took me to make move those things away and get my new recipe out and get my pie dish out and make the crust. I'm going to fold it in half, lay it on top of the pie plate, and then open it, and there we go. It is exactly the right size. You just push it up. Now I will tell you one trick. It doesn't say to do it in the recipes, but I learned this from my great-grandmother. She always took and pricked the pie dough with the fork, so when it bakes it doesn't bubble. It doesn't bubble over. We're going to set that aside, and we're going to make the filling. I'm going to check my cookies first. There's the timer. I'm going to check on the cookies first. Oh boy, they look good. They did puff up. They didn't spread, but they did puff up. Okay, so they're browned very nicely on the bottom, and they're still a very soft cookie. So there are our pinwheel cookies. Just like that. They are nice. They're very, very soft, and they're just nicely browned. That's why I didn't do it for the whole 10 minutes that it called for, because it would have been too long. And they did rise up, so I could have even actually made them a little bit thinner, and I gotten a few more cookies because they're thick now. They did rise, which is fine, so next time I'll know I can cut them a bit thinner, and they puffed up. That's from the baking powder that we used. They rised up. Okay, so now to get back to our lemon sponge pie, we've got the crust made. Now we're going to make the filling. Bowl here. And just give your bowl from your crust, just give it a little wipe out. You don't have to dirty another bowl. Get a paper towel or a dry towel and just wipe out that flour. And you can put everything right in there. So to that we need to cream the butter and add the sugar and egg yolks. So we need 2 tablespoons of butter. Tablespoon out. And if you use soft butter, like tub butter, it's already creamed basically. It's real soft. If it's fresh out of the fridge and it's a little hard, then you want to give it a little stir to make it softer. We'll just give that a little stir, just so, yeah, creamed it, and there you go. So we do that, and we add the sugar, which is 1 cup of sugar. Sugar. Okay. I'm using my 1/3 measuring cup, so I need 3. I've really got to get those measuring scoops for my canisters. I really do, because it'll be so much easier to measure things out. So there's my sugar. So we're going to mix in the butter and the sugar. Give that a good mix. Cream the butter and the sugar. Just mix it all together so the butter, it's not melted exactly, but it's just into the sugar, and the sugar's kind of mixed in. There we go. Pretty easy, pretty straightforward. Even the most amateur cooks can do this. All you're doing is stirring it until it's all mixed in, kind of like a big, you want it just kind of clumped up like that. That's how you know it's all mixed in, when it stays together. So to that, now you do have to separate the eggs for this, although it doesn't, oh yeah, simply yes. So we do have to separate our eggs for this. So I'm going to get a bowl. We do have to beat the egg whites for this one. So now to the butter and the sugar, we're going to add the egg yolks. So what I'm going to do is separate them over in this bowl. When you're making meringue, never ever get even the tiniest drop of yolk into your whites. If that happens, spill it out, put the egg into a container to use for something else, for baking, for making a scrambled egg, whatever. It will never, ever peak and get thick if you have any remnants of yolk at all. I thought, oh, I did that one, just a little drop, it shouldn't hurt. Yeah, it does. I was whipping those egg whites for 1 hour, and I kept adding sugar over and over, and it was like, it's not happening. No, it's just, you can't, there's something in the yolk that will not allow those egg whites to peak. So there we go. Put the egg whites aside for another minute. So we're going to mix in our egg yolks with our sugar butter mixture. See how nice and creamy that is? That's what you're looking for. Nice creamy consistency. Alright, and I beat well. Okay, I think I beat that pretty well. Now we add the flour, salt, lemon juice, lemon rind. Again, I don't use the rind. I never do. I don't like those bits floating around in my food. It's not good. I'm just using lemon juice. So for the flour, we need 3 tablespoons. 1, 2, 3. Okay, the salt is 1/4 teaspoon of salt. In the salt goes. And lemon juice and milk. So, okay, it says juice of 1 lemon. Now, see, that's kind of vague, because depending on how big your lemon is and how juicy, because some are drier than others. So I'm going to put in 1/4 cup. I don't know if that's too much. We're going to find out. But you know what? It'll give it a really super, super good lemony flavor. Because you usually get about that, 1/4 to 1/3 of a cup out of a good juicy lemon. So, and now we need 1 cup of milk. Milk measure. And that goes a cup of milk. So again, easy recipe. This, I'm not even sure where I got it. I made a bunch of recipes probably when I first got married, and I typed them out. Old-fashioned typewriter, believe it or not. I typed them all out and put them in a binder, and then I did get the report covers, those plastic sheets, and I put them in there, so then if you slop and spill, which I do a lot, you can just wipe them off, and then you don't wreck your recipes. You don't get them all. So there, that was as easy as that gets. Now we add the flour, the salt, the lemon juice, the milk, and now we mix that. So now we have to stiffly beat our egg whites. I'm going to set this apart. I'm just going to grab my mixer. So we're not making meringue. We're not adding the sugar, making them nice and thick. We're just stiffly beating them. This is going to make your lemon filling nice and airy and fluffy. So it's going to get loud in here for a second, because a little hand mixer, but it's quite loud. So bear with me. We're going to just go ahead and turn this on. And it doesn't take long. You can whisk it, and it's just, it's easy to. The electric mixer does it faster and more efficiently. It's a little loud, but you can see already how quickly these are getting stiff. I don't know if you can hear it. See how they're really getting fluffy and stiff already. It doesn't take long. You do want to use room temperature eggs. Making want nice little peaks on it. This is just going to air it up and make your lemon just nice and fluffy. Right now it's very, very watery. So there we go. That's it. And you test with your finger. You just grab it, and if it stands up in a peak and stays peaked, it's good. If I was making meringue, the only difference is that I would add a little bit of sugar and make them more peaked, and then because the sugar helps to make it brown when you put it in the oven. So okay, so we're going to add in the stiffly beaten egg whites. Now to this, you fold it. You don't stir, because if you just go crazy madman stirring, it's going to take all the nice air you just incorporated. So you take your spoon and you go under and over, under and over. I'm using a spatula, but a spoon works too. You just gently, gently incorporate those egg whites, because if you stir crazy, all the air that you just beat into those egg whites is going to go right out the window. So there we go. It's nicely incorporated. Doesn't take long. You can see the yellow of your other batter showing through. That's the kind of, I mean, it's not going to be yellow anymore. It's going to still stay, it's going to be whitish because of the egg whites. So that's what it looks like. I'm tipping my bowl because my Dino Brody gave me these nice bowls, but they're not see-through. They're gorgeous bowls. They're nice for mixing things like this, but you can't see through them. So to this, we're going to pour this into our unbaked pie shell, and that is filling that up beautifully. I am going to put this onto a cookie sheet before I put it in the oven, just in case it overflows, because that's going to save a whole lot of cleanup. I'm going to lift the parchment paper off with my cookies and put those aside on my cooling sheet. Right? Put the pie on here. Now you have to bake this, it says, for 45 minutes. I'm going to bake it in little increments. I'm going to start out at 30 minutes and to see how much extra. I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to go a little bit longer than 30. I think maybe I'll start off at 35. So I'm going to set my timer for 35 minutes, and you can tell when it's done, when it's set, when it doesn't wiggle and jiggle all over the place. So I will see you back here in 35 minutes and we'll see what it looks like. Alrighty, now I'm back, and it did take the full 45 minutes to cook our lemon sponge pie, and that's what it looks like. I cut a piece and put it on the plate for everybody to see. It's nice and creamy. The top is nice and brown, and it's nice and creamy looking, and the inside, just gonna cut it. So I'm doing this right-handed, sorry. Okay, so there we go, and that is what is for dessert. So enjoy. I hope you all try these recipes, and while you're eating those yummy pinwheel cookies and having a nice piece of lemon sponge pie, pop over to my Reading with Grandma channel and enjoy a story while you're eating your cookies. Have a good day, everybody. Bye-bye now.